That was Larkin Poe with California King off their latest self-produced album, Venom Faith. With me today in Nashville, Tennessee at Analog, Larkin Poe, Larkin and Poe, Megan and Rebecca Lovell. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Gals. I don't know, do you guys have a preference on that? You're Southern. We welcome y'all.
You know, I'll take a gal.
Okay.
I'll take a gal.
I like gal.
Yeah.
All right. I just like to be inclusive.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go with y'all. Y'all grew up in Atlanta, studied classical violin and piano as kids. You're a little bit older. There's an elder sister, Jessica. The Lovell sisters was the Bluegrass trio for a while. I'm going to assume, you guys had some notable success with that, but I'm just going to assume that Jessica got fed up with you two for some reason and bailed. Is that what happened with that?
I think she was the smartest of us three. I think that's where that plays out. Where
Right.
she was like, this is a really strange way to make a living. Like, I don't know that this is my cup of tea. And so she bailed.
And you can't keep getting parking tickets.
Right,
so
I know.
can't
I'm very
deal
hard
with
to be in a
that.
band with. But,
Yeah.
I mean, typically our public answer is that we just poisoned her.
Okay.
And like some weird circus
Let's spread
family.
that. Why not?
I know, right?
Yeah.
Trying to spread misinformation.
R.I.P. Jessica Lovell. But then you guys kicked off Larkin Poe, and you've kind of been rocking faces off ever since. Somebody somewhere called you like the Little Sisters of the Allman Brothers.
Which we love.
Wow. I don't know why you wouldn't love
know.
that. And, you know, here are some words that I found that have been used to describe your music.
Ooh.
Blistering, beguiling, bewitching, barnstorming, gothic, primal, malicious,
Malicious.
which I
like
think
that
is,
one.
Is little whatever, and unsettling.
I like all those words.
Do you?
I do. I think I especially like blistering.
Yeah, I like blistering too. Malicious seems a little like, I don't know about that. I don't think you guys are mean. Like, I don't think you're gonna.
I think they're talking about Megan.
Probably. It's always the quiet ones.
It is.
Yeah.
We weren't sure if that was a positive or a negative
I
review on
know.
us. I mean, we were very
Yeah,
torn.
yeah. So you put out, what is it? 5 EPs, 4 albums, some other collaborative projects. Toured as side players with all these wannabes like Elvis Costello and Connor Oberst and Keith Urban. And now you're here, Hangin Sangin, pinnacle of all artistic achievements.
Still.
Yeah. Do you feel like because you came from like the foundational of kind of bluegrass, is that why you can? Between Connor Oberst and Keith Urban is a vast artistic abyss.
This is true.
Do you feel like having that foundation from bluegrass and classical training, is that what allows you to play with anybody, anywhere, anytime?
I think it's an accumulative effect. I mean, our dad played us so much as children, from Southern rock to classic rock to Aussie to metal. You know, our mother was playing us classical records. So I think it was really having started so young and really being kind of nonconformists in the music that we were making. Because, I mean, typically speaking, when you're in your early teens and you're like hitting 14 and you have a pimply face, like the antithesis of cool is bluegrass. For a lot of people, you know, all our friends were like,
Even for grown-ups,
you want
that
to
is
play
the antithesis
a
of cool.
banjo? So
Yeah.
for us, it was always more about following whatever like we enjoyed as individuals, and we were homeschooled as well, so we weren't required to
explains
like
so much.
explain ourselves
so
to other
much.
kids. It's like, don't even try. Like, we're just
Yeah.
gonna go and play our, you know, Sally Gooden and
Yeah.
whiskey before breakfast.
But I will say, in bluegrass, there is such an emphasis placed upon being technically proficient on your instrument.
Absolutely.
So we
and
feel
in
very
classical
lucky.
training too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
So we feel
Definitely.
fortunate just to have been playing music since we were so young.
Yeah.
And also playing with people who had very high musical expectations.
Right.
And people who were like, all right, either you're going to cut it or you're not.
Yeah.
And
Because Keith Urban can shred.
Keith Urban is
He's
an
incredible.
amazing musician.
Yeah.
He is unbelievable. The first gig that we played with Keith was the New Year's Eve bash 2 years ago here in Nashville, where we had, as y'all may remember, insanely low temperatures. I'm talking, you know, with the wind chill it was -3, -4 degrees.
Yeah, yeah.
And so the heating on the stage was broken. And so all, you know, Keith's crew was up there working for hours in literally freezing weather. And we get up to jam with Keith, and he kicks off Rocky Top. I was gonna say Foggy Mountain Breakdown. Kicked
Rocky
off
Top.
Rocky Top, and I mean he kicked it off like good old Rocky, like really quick.
Yeah.
And then looks at me and he's like, take a solo. And you're talking in freezing weather, and so I sort of like took some like desperate attempt at a shred fest, and then dude proceeded to rip a solo like he was in Bahamas, like.
Well, he had that extra time to warm his fingers up.
It's true.
See?
You know what?
I'm on your side.
All right, thank you.
Poe.
He had some sick like designer looking fingerless gloves too.
Yeah,
So.
they probably had like radiant
know.
heat.
He's
you
like
know?
plugged into like his phone back here,
Yeah.
like moderate,
Yeah,
like just controlling.
Don't put anything past that guy.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. All right. So you did start playing as teens. So I'm just gonna say that's sort of like being a child star, right? I mean, being on the festival circuit and playing in picking parties and all that kind of stuff, right? And Opry and different whatever all you guys did. How did that? Do you feel like that hindered or helped you both professionally and personally to like step into it, like?
That is, I
early?
love this question. A bit of both, I would say. I mean, I think the fact that we were surrounded by people who bothered to listen to us was a huge help because, you know, you're little kids and you don't really have that much to say, but people were very supportive.
Yeah.
And they would look at us and be like, yeah, like, keep going, kid, like, do the thing.
Yeah.
But then I think as individuals and as people, you know, and now we're like pushing our 30s and looking back and seeing all of those, like, pristinely awkward moments totally
I know,
categorized.
When you guys look back at your like teenage
Oh.
photos,
Oh, yeah.
do you have some cringe moments?
Well,
Because
y-
ours
yeah,
was
and they
documented.
weren't on
It was-
stage.
That was bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's video proof
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
Oh, and not even just like from like a style perspective, because everyone like makes terrible choices, and you're like, oh, honey,
Yeah.
why? But then musically as well, because we were different people, we were learning and experimenting in front of people.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of vulnerability, I think, when people can go back through on YouTube and search us up, and sort of learning how to own that and be like, well, you know, you couldn't get to step 68 if you didn't take step 1, 2, and 3. So
Right.
like, just let
Yeah.
it be what it is.
Can you like go to YouTube and claim copyright infringement and get that stuff
Actually,
taken down?
I'm gonna start like, this is abusive content. You know,
Yeah.
anything of me as a 13-year-old.
You're harassing
gone.
me.
Just gone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like Rebecca should never have worn low-slung pants as a chunky teenager. Just no, no. On
But
so
now
many
look at
levels.
her.
I know. Oh, so I was a mandolin kid, like
Yeah.
at the Bluegrass festivals, and Megan and I bond over this because there's some really great photos of me, like little nerdy kid, you know, like a competition player, and just I was wearing like little polo shirts with my mandolin, like super dweeby, and again, just the fact that our focus at that point in time. In a lot of ways, I'm really stoked that our mother wasn't trying to control us so much in that respect. She was like, go play, like
You be
practice your
you.
mandolin, do you, boo, you know. So in a lot of ways, I think it's positive, all that said.
Yeah. And more recently, you guys have been digging deep, which is apparently the Southern way. See, you guys, they didn't even get that. God, what kind of fans are you guys? I'm quoting lyrics up here.
So sweet.
But you've been digging deep into the blues roots of the South more. Bessie Jones, Skip James, Son House, and those are some old songs. So how, as two millennial white girls, how are you finding the intersections, the connection points with those songs?
I think everyone has their jump-off point. You know, for us, I think it would have definitely been the Allman Brothers, because we were listening to Allman Brothers records because of our dad.
Well, you are the little sisters.
It's
of the
true.
Allman
Yeah.
Brothers.
Well, I wish.
And we wanted to go
110%.
back and see, you know, who were the Allman Brothers listening to, like who inspired them, and that's when we started to kind of dig deeper and finding some of these people, and that's really amazing. It has such soul, and then branching outward from there, and there was so much that we didn't know and hadn't listened to before.
Yeah, and I would say another jump-off point, unexpectedly, because you come across, I think, sometimes your discoveries, like you have those aha moments when you least expect them. And for us, touring with Elvis Costello, and as y'all would know, Elvis Costello is like, you know, Mr. Punk Dude in England, and suffice it to say, he's one of the biggest like traditional American music aficionados that I've ever bumped into. He has an encyclopedic understanding of the way that American music, from the turn of the century on sort of developed.
Elton John is that way too.
And I love that, you know, and for us, I think understanding the power of bothering to know the history of music and what begat what over the years. And I think whenever we started digging deeper and had those like chill bumping, spine hair raising moments, you realize that you're onto something good because you're getting down to the source.
Right.
What is it that Willie said? It's like the roots and the fruits. Like the roots are responsible for everything. And so for us, that's what we want to try and pay homage to and be influenced by.
Yeah. And also, I mean, the more things change, the more they stay the same is a truth. It's like, but is it like when you're going back to one of those old blues songs that's just kind of like this tortured soul thing that's 100 years ago, is it disheartening to see how much hasn't changed, that some of those conditions are still so prevalent?
I think it's like focusing on the picture or the shadow, because it can be either one. It could be empowering in that there is some justifiability for like this sorrow or the torture that you yourself feel and that you're not alone. But yeah, maybe it could be disheartening. What were you going to say?
And also a source of inspiration, because these people are writing about things that everyone deals with. And the timelessness of those lyrics, I think that's originally what has also drawn us to the blues, is just the timelessness of it. Yeah. That they are talking about matters of the soul, and that would be something that we would like to write about, is things that we all experience over and over and over.
And also, instead of bottling it up, bothering to channel it into the art, because that will make you sick if you keep that torture, because we all feel it. Like there's every single one of us has something, even if we're privileged and we have had parents that loved us and had great teachers at great places in our lives. Like we all feel that discontent, I think, out of space and time. It's like, why am I alive? Why are we here? And instead of letting it consume you, to instead put it back into the creative process. To me, I think that's so healthy.
You do hear all these blues songs talking about getting it out, getting the blues out.
And for some of them, and the spirituals, like that was their only way to express it. Like they had to cloak it in the music to just keep the stories alive and to tell their stories and to tell their traditions.
So it's like a testament to the strength of humans, you know? To me, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not a traditional blues fan, but I love blues-influenced things.
Okay.
Like you guys, fantastic. Negrito, Alabama Shakes, like Son Little. How does it feel to be kind of among this class of contemporary artists who are keeping this legacy alive that is so important to American roots music?
To me, it feels very exciting. Also, I noticed that my hands are shaking. Like I'm not used to holding a mic, and I'm like really nervous to make the mic like not clink my rings on the mic and stuff.
I appreciate that thoughtfulness.
This is very. I just realized that I'm like.
Should we get you a stand?
About that question. I know that's why I keep resting it on my knee, but that's kind of awkward. No, but I feel that. Megan and I, the way that we approach the blues, we have so much respect for the genre. And our goal is, in trying to be champions as a female-fronted roots rock and roll band in the 21st century, is to pay homage as much as we can and to hopefully be that jump-off point for people of our own generation. Right. To go back and to do their due diligence and understand who we're listening to.
Yeah,
and
so we just hear you do sometimes and be like, oh, where'd this come from? Then go back and listen to Bessie sing it and be like, oh, okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And not to take anything away from the years and years of traditions, or to be, in any way like appropriating anything. That's not our goal. That is not, our spirit. Like, we're so proud to be alive at a time in which, we can be a part of. Yeah. This continuing chapter. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Venom Faith is the new record.
Yes.
It was on my year-end list of game-changing records because I feel like I feel like this record, which you guys produced, and you produced the last record, Peach, but I feel like it delivers on the promise made by Peach. Does that make sense?
Yes, and thank you.
You're welcome. What's it feel like from the inside out of that? Do you feel like it did what you wanted it to do? Or that you did what you wanted to do?
I'm proud of Venom Faith, and we had a lot of fun making it. And I do believe that it was continuing down the path that Peach started, because Peach was, the first album that we went in, just the two of us, and we played all the instruments on the record and self-produced. And it did give us the confidence, I think, to do a second album that way. And for me and for Rebecca as well, I think it was one of the most freeing experiences we've ever had in the studio. And one of the only times when we felt like, okay, we accomplished what we kind of set out to do. Not that there aren't things when you look back and you're like, oh, I would change that, or I wish I had done that differently. But it does feel like we did accomplish what we set out to hopefully do with the album, and has given us a lot of ideas for the next one.
See, we're already looking ahead. Because, as we all know, there's a very severe shortage of female producers and engineers in music. Because you have had success now doing it for yourselves, are you eyeing other projects, other artists that you want to produce?
At some point, yes.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing personally that I've taken away from producing our two records, and specifically with Venom Faith, is what a big responsibility it is. I think that producers can, sort of catch a bad rap of, oh, the producer didn't do anything that I wanted them to do, and they sort of become the scapegoat if a record isn't working. But it's really challenging to try and create a seamless body of work that has some sort of a story arc. Like, I realized, sort of the responsibility that you're accepting. And for Megan and I think for ourselves, we were able to do it in a very honest way because, one, we're sisters, and so if, there's any bullshit going on, we'll sniff it out with each other real fast. We know each other through and through, and so we were able to really produce ourselves honestly with this record.
So much of a producer's job is the psychology of the situation.
Yes.
So you guys have that down.
Exactly,
right.
But trying to step in and do that for another artist, I think I would be nervous. I think probably that's something, maybe when we tick past 35, I could see myself.
All right.
But I could, we've been so lucky to get to watch somebody like T-Bone Burnett produce.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That it would be amazing to be able to be in that role. The sort of the more hands-off approach. I think that's what T-Bone Burnett does really well with his artists, is he gets them in the studio and he says, let's not over-perfect this. Let's not cut it up into pieces. Let's let it be the live, authentic version of what it is.
And for the love of God, don't tune the vocals. Just let somebody sing it. Just
let it be what it is.
You know what I mean? I know. And we're in Nashville, so no offense, but Music Row, but Lord have mercy.
Oh, yeah.
Because to me, another thing that I think is really powerful with this record is that we were willing, I think, to have the trust in each other to take left turns. Because when folks listen to our records, especially on a couple of tracks, there's some really big departures in the arrangements and the song structure.
Yeah.
And feeling so lucky to be in a band where, we're both let's do it, it's fun. And then also to have a fan base that doesn't send us hate mail for the fact that we have a horn section on the record, for being a roots rock and roll band. It's just, it's exciting. But production, it is a big responsibility.
Yeah. Well, since you mentioned that, sometimes it went from your original Tip of the Hat video was just stomps, claps, and vocals, and now it has horns and big old drums, and that snare that I just love. But how do you know when to stop, when to subtract, when to add, when it's where you want it to be?
We're big reductionists.
Especially now, I think we would tend to take more away because it's so easy to layer with Pro Tools. You can make something sound giant, but what we love and what we've taken from the blues, where it's a lot of it is just vocal and maybe stomps, and we love that. We'd like to take away as much as possible, although it is hard.
Let the space do its thing too.
But even then, we strive for the vulnerability and the starkness of a vocal and a guitar, and yet we build up a snare section and a drum line and like and build horn sections. But also, it's just I think wanting to have fun, and you know, I'll have harebrained ideas and bring them to Megan, and she'll be like, "Well, let's try it." And that's the biggest thing, is that we're learning how to just try things.
Yeah.
Just try it.
Because
It's not gonna kill anybody. Just try it.
Yeah, and it's also like I'm of the mind that a record can be one thing and a live performance can be something
Absolutely.
completely different. Like it doesn't have to match. It can be really magical when they do line up to get a band to play something in that way. But you know, when you are just stomp clap vocals, there's not a lot to hide behind there.
It's true.
How's that feel to be that vulnerable in those kind of situations?
It's been a learning process.
I mean, you are
even-
going to hide behind a kick drum today.
It's true. We're totally hiding behind this massive, almost as big as us kick drum.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think just the fact that we're playing the two of us, because Megan and I definitely think in a full band context. Like when I write songs, I'm thinking about, all right, what's the drummer going to do? And then I'll program the damn drums and take it to the drummer and be like, here's what you're going to play. Like super control freaky about it. But just being willing to strip it back and to say, you know what, the songs will or won't stand on their own, and just take a shot.
Yeah.
You know, and then if you really blow, then go home and practice, you know, and try it again, because again, we all make mistakes, and that's like the biggest part of being human, and we're not perfect, and to embrace that imperfection, oftentimes that's what ultimately ends up being the moments you love.
Yeah.
If you have the courage to let it stay.
Yeah. Do you while you're producing a record, do you have certain sounds that you sort of tie to themes or I don't want to say characters because that's not quite right, but almost like a score where it's like, oh, this melodic theme or this instrumental theme needs to come back in here.
I get very nerdy about sounds because I end up
kinda
figuring all
had a
the drums
feeling.
for the records, and
Yeah.
so I have these sound libraries that would probably, if you listen to each little, 3-second sample end to end to end, it would take you about 25 years because there's so many sounds that I can pull from.
Yeah.
I do
And
have to
yeah.
pat my sister on the back a little bit here, because till we produced our own records, she had never done programming, she had never done any of that engineering, any of that sort of thing, and she just like hopped right in on these records. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna learn how to do it. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Write a horn section? Sure, I'll try.
Sure. Why not? Go for it.
Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah. Well, here's a really important question. Were you indeed born for a fast world? Because I know from my research that you are gonna, no matter how many times you say you ain't gonna, you are gonna cry. So I'm just curious about this.
This is great. We're walking contradictions.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, and this is something that I find so fascinating about Megan and I as artists. The fact that we are sisters and, our relationship, it's like the fact that we're sisters in that bond, that's the axis upon which everything else rotates and gravitates. Like, we're pulled by that.
Yeah.
But as individuals, we are completely different people. I am like, crazy frenetic, and she is our methodical, like, let's dot every I, cross every T.
Yeah.
So even just in the pull between the two of us, and as we've gotten older, to accept the fact that, we're sisters and we share, like, identical memories. Like, because we've never spent more than, 2 weeks apart in our life.
Oh.
Which is, like,
Wow.
crazy when you never
That's
went away to
a lot
college.
of time for 29 years.
It's a long time. So just, like, coming to terms with that in our relationship and the way that we write songs and make music, to make it represent both of us. Yeah. There's a lot of contradiction that exists. Yeah, you gotta kind of roll with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a song like California King or Honey Honey, when they're sort of like these free-form stream of consciousness things lyrically. By the way, I'm a rooster, so thanks for that shout out, buddy.
Bring it in.
Yeah. Do things have to make sense, or is it can it be okay for it just to feel good to sing and sound good as it hits the ear?
Well, I mean, I love two of my favorite songwriters are, Tom Petty and Tom Waits. And those two guys almost couldn't be farther apart from each other, because Tom Waits is Mr. like, let me build you a picture with these words, and is totally avant-garde and, and creepy and strange or whatever, fragmented ideas. And Tom Petty is like the story guy, the narrative. So I like both. I feel like songwriting, unless you're Tom Petty or Tom Waits, who probably came out of the womb writing amazing songs, it's a muscle like everything else. You learn how to do it better with time.
Yeah.
So I'm committed to trying to get better and figuring out my distinct voice, you know, lyrically.
But I don't think, during Soundcheck, I mentioned something about Neil Finn, who's one of my favorite songwriters. I don't, like 98% of his songs, I have no idea what they're about. But I still get the brilliance of the melody, of the wordplay, of all of it. So maybe 93%. Some of them I know. But so it's like, I think it's okay for some things to just be that
leaving
free
space
form.
for interpretation.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to tell a listener like, here's what the song is, and like you can't find yourself within it. Like in some ways it's like beautiful to have negative space for other people, negative as in lack of anything there,
Sure.
not
Yeah.
bad, but you know, to insert themselves and make it represent them as a listener.
Yeah. I
If
agree
you're
with that.
really good at songwriting, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just fake it till you make it. No.
But here's the thing: even the good ones are faking it. They
It's
don't.
true.
They don't believe that they're. I mean, I've had that conversation with writers who are like Hall of Fame songwriters. It's like, you know, sure, you know when you stick that landing, and like, no, I really don't. It's like, oh, interesting, but
And that's something actually that we've encountered a lot in for me as a main writer for the band. It's like I write a song, and for me, songwriting is like the thing that I love most, and also the thing that terrifies me the most. Truly, like I write a song.
those things go together very
It's
often.
true. I write a song and I feel convinced that it is like the last thing. I'm done. Like, oh my God, like I pulled it off one more time. Like, how did it all come together?
Tapped out.
I'm
Yeah.
tapped
I'm
out.
over.
It's
Yeah.
really, and I feel
Time to
that.
start producing other people.
I know, and it's sort of like funny if you actually step back and you look at yourself and you're like, wow, you're such a drama queen. But also, it's sort of inherently and inextricably like linked with. It's like I'm so in love with this, and I admire songwriters, and I want to be a songwriter, and I couldn't possibly be a songwriter just yet, and that's most definitely my last song. You know, all of this that's baked into that complicated relationship for me in writing.
Yeah.
So it never gets old, that's for sure.
Right.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
keep coming
It
back.
Never gets easier.
It
either.
never gets old, never gets easier.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we were talking about the playing as instrumentalists earlier, and you guys always get plenty of accolades as stellar players, rightfully so. You sing your ass off on this record,
Thank
particularly
you.
on Good and Gone, which Megan wrote.
yes, she did.
So, I know that's a special tune for you guys. Do you feel like that's the kind of song that sort of solidifies your place within this blues lineage? That you have to speak into the mic. You can't just nod your head for radio.
Well, I'm loath to say anything because I'm just gonna slather
do it.
praise on my sister.
Do it.
Because that's one of my favorite, and the fact that I didn't write it means that I can unabashedly compliment.
That's right.
I love that song, and I think it really represents not only where we stand within the genre in a lot of ways, that it does have that timeless feel,
Yeah.
and to me it speaks to a lot of the things that I spend 98% of my time worrying about, like mortality and how to accept life as it passes, for you and for other people and the ones you love. But also, the way that the vocal and the slide are intertwining, that to me is like a big part of what we do.
Huge. I would say I wrote that song really wanting to highlight that because I love to sing along with her because I consider my lap steel my true voice.
Sure.
And so it's nice for me to be able to harmonize with her, twin her vocally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, job well done all the way around.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to do the enlightening round now.
Okay.
Since you guys are Southerners through and through, I'm going to list different things, and you tell me what is better about them in the South than elsewhere. With all due respect to elsewhere.
All due respect.
Food.
Oh man. This is complicated for us to answer because we're predominantly vegetarian and err on the side of vegan, both of
Okay.
us, for the last probably 3 or 4 years, which is really complicated family arrangements because oh my God, our aunts can make some mac and cheese.
Whew. Mashed potatoes, dressing, amazing food.
Yeah.
I
Although
think Southern food
Love
trumps all.
love the fried chicken. Don't eat it anymore, but love it.
But now there's alternatives. There's like deep fried cauliflower, which is the bomb.
Oh man, I
It's-
had some
yeah.
Kung Pao cauliflower last week down the street. I'll tell you after. It was amazing because I've been veg and or vegan for 27 years, so I can hook you up.
But just out of allegiance, like
Yeah.
Southern food kicks
Yeah.
ass.
Yeah. Summer. What's better about summer in the South than elsewhere?
That's tricky. I mean,
No, people say the humidity is terrible. I love the humidity.
You're a freak, Megan.
she is a bit
I
of a
like
freak.
it. My skin likes it. I enjoy it. I enjoy the heat. I enjoy the South.
She loves a good searing moist heat. That
Oh.
just really sinks into your lungs
Oh.
and just I don't know. I'm gonna have to disagree with you there.
I know, and probably most people will.
Oh, the band's breaking up.
Exactly. And this was the straw, ladies and gentlemen.
Somebody mentioned summer. What's better about Southern blues than, say, Chicago blues?
That's
It is hard to beat the Mississippi blues, in my
mhm.
opinion. There's something so very special about the Hill Country blues.
And I would say that
The
we're
Delta
we're
blues.
specifically biased because we revere Skip James, and Skip James is a Mississippi hill country blues artist who he would cross tune his guitar, open tunings, finger style, high lonesome voice. Like he just checks all the boxes for us. So I would just say, in terms of
Also, the Mississippi blues is where the slide blues was born.
Hawaiians immigrated to the Delta as labor, and so yeah, for you it's especially
Oh yes.
poignant. But also, may I just ask, where are the crossroads located?
Mic drop.
I know it's not so hard. I'm really struggling.
Are you
You
so-
make it look
I'm so
easy.
sorry.
You're just like chill.
That's
like
right. I'm hanging.
Ah.
I don't have to sing. What's better about the people in the South than elsewhere?
I feel that people, the more traveling we've done, you realize that people are the same the world round. Like we like the same. All the inconsistencies that make us human are baked into each and every one of us as individuals.
Right.
And I feel like Southerners will stab you in the back just as fast as anybody else. But we at least do it really politely and with so much etiquette. We're
Bless
like,
your heart.
Like, and we come from a very Southern family. Like our grandmother had, 2 sisters, and they had a bunch of baby brothers, and so like that was totally modeled for us of our, the next generation above us sitting around the table with the cornbreads and the pinto beans and the collard greens and talking shit, But they wouldn't say it outright. They refer to everyone as heifers. They'd be like, oh, that heifer, just awesome, just
Was
awesome.
there an actual R on the end, or was it just heifers?
heifers?
Yeah, I grew up in
Unless
Louisiana. I
oh,
know how
yeah.
this goes.
It's just good.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful culture.
Rock and roll. Southern rock and roll versus whatever, California rock, surf rock.
See, I don't know that I could really have a hard line on that because
Oh.
I know.
Are you going along with this?
Because Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Neil Young, like
Alright.
those guys.
Fair point.
And then you have Leonard Skinner and yet then Lizzie, and you have Allman Brothers. I really don't think you can have one without the other. It's like you got to represent both coasts.
Okay.
I will say that what the southern rock bands have is slide guitar.
She's just
Always
again,
brings
everything
it back.
comes
She
back.
is so on brand.
It's true. There is basically every single one of Megan's responses
Slide.
features an asterisk, which is
Yeah.
slide.
Yeah.
I know.
Special conditions for slide.
Nice. Okay. Venom.
Hang on. David Lindley on Jackson Brown's Running on Empty.
Oh.
Sorry,
Okay, fair
I'm
enough.
having to strike it down.
Oh.
Come
was
on,
cold.
that's a biggie.
That was cold.
That
It's Jackson
But you're
Brown,
right.
though. I am right.
You're right. You're
Okay,
right.
what's better about Venom than Faith?
Yeah. Let's go with that.
Ooh.
Or it could be the other way around. Whatever. Because some people would say that faith is venom. Can be faith. Faith can be venom.
It's true. Again, you're sort of like the inextricability piece. Like I think that one has meaning because of the other. You
That's
know
very Taoist of you.
how Winnie the Pooh of me.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
Oh, this is why we're buds.
For me, whenever we named the record Venom and Faith, we wanted to build a picture of of the South, and I do think that, of course, you know, you have like the Eastern Diamondbacks and the Copperheads and the rattlesnakes and all these, you know, creepy crawly goodness around the grounds, and of course the you know, we're in the Bible Belt as well. So for us, we just felt it was a kind of cool crossroads of ideas to name the record, to try and sum up the body of work.
No, I like it. I had a copperhead in the crawl space under my house last year, and I was like, okay, I have
That's
to move
serious
now.
biz. That
I
is
can't live
serious
here
business.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, we grew up in the country, and there was a creek at the bottom of the land, and so.
Crick. Oh my God.
And so when it would rain, the water would get high, and so all the snakes would come to the house. And I cannot count the times that our mother and father would get out, like with a big, you know, Tupperware box, and like, here, snakey, 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 and like cart them off, you know.
Nope.
And that's totally our mother's behest. Our dad was like, kill it, and mom's like, no, God's creatures, you know.
Well, bless her heart, because
sure heart.
snakes freak me all the way out. I don't understand them. They have no arms. They have no legs. How do they get, like, I don't understand how they climb a tree. I don't get it. I don't want to know. But anyway, how about y'all go sing for the people? Feel like doing some songs?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean,
Can
you
we
know,
turn these off now?
whatever you feel like doing.
I don't know why this mic is freaking me
It is freaking you out. It's because it's the purple one. You should have gone with red. That would have made all the difference.
So we can just launch in?
Do it, man.
All right.
Larkin Poe, yo.
Thank you for indulging us. This is so fun. We'd like to play some of the new tracks for you guys. All right, so this is, I don't think we talked about it, but Bleach Blonde Bottle Blues. This is a tune that was actually written very late in the recording process. I had actually gone home one day in the studio, and we realized that we didn't have a song that sort of occupied this space. And so we wrote it really fast, and I brought it to Megan, and she was like, sure, let's cut it. And so we did. Bleach blonde bottle blues, baby's got a short fuse, boom, bombshell, raising hell in white linen. She been everywhere, seen everything, saw it on the big screen. Got nothing on that. I said, ooh, child, what you gonna do? I said, ooh, child, what you got? I said, ooh, child, what you gonna do with them bleach blonde bottle blues? Shell pink Cadillac, cherry cola, six-pack, the poppin' biz hits you like a hammer. She is turning heads, weapon grade legs, seen her on the big screen. Got nothing on that. I said, ooh, child, what you gonna do? I said, ooh, child, what you got? I said, ooh, child, what you gonna do with them bleach blonde bottle blues? Feel the fire like a first kiss. Oh, you got a right at your own risk. You got the right at your own risk. How you gonna die? So go and live it while you get it. Oh, you got a right at your own risk. You got the right at your own risk. Here, brother, get on it. Hey brother, get on it. Hey sister, get on it. Bleach blonde bottle blues, gravel in my good shoe, stomp and shake. Take pity on me, 'cause I've been everywhere, seen everything. Now I wanna come clean. I say what I mean, ooh, just say what you mean. Ooh, just say what you mean. Ooh, child, what you gonna do with them bleach blonde bottle blues? Oh, you got a right, feel the fire like the first kiss. Oh, your own risk. Hey, Megan, get on it. Thank you. It never fails to kind of trip me out that Megan is sort of singing 3-part harmony with the slide on that song. So strange. We've been working in years into our rig, which for touring artists, it's like you've leveled up when you get to have in-ears on the road. And it's been such an interesting experience because you forget that she's singing, she has 2 pitches to be concerned about. And I always take that for granted, and you so effortlessly pull it off. Very impressive.
Oh, thank you. Oh, wow, thanks.
Claps. All right, and so for this one, we really did feature the slide pretty heavily on this recording. And it's Honey Honey off the record. And we're going to give it a whirl. You ready? Pocket. You know that I want more and more. Smoke it down the ashes with the empty light on. I like it like that. You can call me crazy. You can tell me that I'm good, God awful. If you knew the state I'm in, would you even bother by the altar with the rattlesnake, the venom and the faith? We like it like that. You got your stars on USA, we're finding freedom on the freeway. Changing lanes, cause we are driving for the blacktop. Say a prayer to little Jesus on the dashboard. Close your eyes, you're gonna get a free ride. Leaving from the White House, feeling presidential. Take a ride in my motorcade. Ocean is in retrograde. Pedal to the metal, cause the devil cut the brakes. Do you like to go fast? Begging for a car crash. Red and white and blue. Guess you could say we're complicated. But what you gonna do? It's not like we could give it up. It's not like we would try it. Do you like to go fast? You got your stars on USA, we're finding freedom on the freeway. Changing lanes, cause we are driving for the blacktop. Say a prayer to little Jesus on the dashboard. Close your eyes, you're gonna get a free ride. Honey, honey, I was born for a fast world. Honey, honey, I was born for a fast world. Honey, honey, I was born for the world. You got your stars on USA, we're finding freedom on the freeway. Changing lanes, cause we are driving for the blacktop. Say a prayer to little Jesus on the dashboard. Close your eyes, you're gonna get a free ride. Honey, honey, I was born for a fast world. Honey, honey, I was born for a fast world. Honey, honey, I was born for a fast world. Ooh, 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 ooh. How about you, ooh, ooh. I'm as American as apple pie, kicking down the door. I got plenty in my pocket. You know that I want more. I'll smoke it down the ashes with the empty light on. I like it like that. Yeah. Thank you for picking up. Whoever's doing the backbeat, nice. It's like I'm missing that. Need to grow another arm. No, it was great. You're like, shut up. We're in a small room. They can hear us breathing. Actually, it's so funny to me that in terms of nerves, like it's all just as chickens here, but this is so much more nerve-wracking than just a regular show. So thank you for coming to be a part of this very, potentially explosive situation, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah, and so we're gonna do, since we were talking about the blues, we gotta do this. since everything does come from the blues. And we love Skip James and Son House and all these guys. We wanted to do a cover. So this is, Megan's gonna take you to church with the slide. This totally feels like an altar call right now. This is Preachin Blues. Get it, girl? I'm gonna get me some religion. I'm gonna join the Baptist church. I'm gonna get me some religion. I'm gonna join the Baptist church. Gonna be a preacher, hey, so I don't have to work. I wish I had a heaven of my own. Yes, I do. I wish I had a heaven of my own. Give all of my women your long and happy home. All right, give it to us, Megan, love it. Pick my seat and sit down. Oh, gonna preach these blues. Gonna pick my seat and sit down. Cause when the Spirit comes, heaven knows I'm gonna want you to. I grabbed up my suitcase and took off down the road. Grabbed up my suitcase, took off down the road. I said farewell, my church. May the good Lord bless your soul, yeah. Bless your soul, yeah. Bless your soul. Bless your soul. Bless your soul. Thank you. Well, this has been so much fun. Thank you, Kelly, for doing such a cool thing for artists to give people a little bit more insight into how and why we make our records and why we write songs, why we bother to wake up in the day. And that we're not named Larkin and Poe. Neither one of us is. It's true. But this has been such a pleasure. And are any of y'all coming to the show tomorrow at Exit In? Sweet. Yay. All right. Ski, yo! I love it. It's going to be great. So we'll leave you on this one. Since we were born in Tennessee, but then raised in Georgia, like we mentioned. So this has always felt like a big coming home song, because the Appalachians here in the South, they're like our crowning glory. I love these mountains, and so we want to write a song to sort of remember them. It's called Blue Ridge Mountains. You ready? The question is, am I ready? Blue Ridge Mountains, you gotta get back to my home. Among the ferns and dogwood trees, that's the dirt where I was grown. Backwoods living set me free. You gotta get back to my roots. This city life is killing me. Pretty soon I'm gonna shake my boots. Hey! On my mind, sit on my mind, getting down to the Georgia clay. Yeah. On my mind, sit on my mind, drinking sweet tea every day. Yeah. On my mind, sit on my mind, digging deep as a southern way. Yeah. Honey, I'm home. I am so glad just to see you. Church stop power, USA, counting down the 50 states. I can't shake these moving blues, roll me to the pearly gates. When this heartbreak's down on me, someplace God knows where, tow it back to Tennessee, my baby gonna fix it there. Say, on my mind, sit on my mind, getting down to the Georgia clay. Yeah. On my mind, sit on my mind, drinking sweet tea every day. Yeah. On my mind, sit on my mind, digging deep as a southern way. Yeah. Honey, I'm home. I am so glad just to see you. The Georgia clay, yeah. On my mind, sit on my mind, drinking sweet tea every day. On my mind, sit on my mind, digging deep as a southern way. Oh, honey, I'm home. I am so glad just to see y'all. Hey, thank you so much. Y'all are gorgeous. Thank you.
Larkin Poe. I love my job, you guys. I can't. And watching you, there's so much joy in what you're doing over there. I hope you guys could pick up on that, because it's evident. So thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you guys and
Back at you.
and make you sing with for me. Thank you guys all for coming. I know it's a push to get here on a Tuesday afternoon, especially in the rain, so I deeply appreciate it. We've got one more show next week here at Analog. Tommy Emmanuel and John Knowles. A couple of more guitar greats. You know, I mean, wasn't sure how else to follow you guys, so I went with, certified guitar guy, whatever. So feel free to come back then. We're going to leave you with another track off the album, Venom Faith. Here's Mississippi.